Welcome to my second presentation on generational wealth, and today we are going to talk about rethinking wealth and why it's important to think about the generational wealth in more than just monetary terms. So, what are we going to look at? Building generational wealth, rethinking the wealth that we want to leave, 5 types of capital, the dangers if we ignore the fact that we should think broader than just the money, and then ending off with the wheel of life. So, most often, this generational wealth that you and your family are building starts with small, humble steps. Perhaps the husband and wife starts a new business, perhaps even part-time, working long, hard hours on that. Maybe the kids are even involved, working behind the counter, etc. And gradually you build this business. And maybe you expand, you can buy your own property, you can maybe buy your own delivery vehicles. And eventually this business grows in such a way that you can also start investing in shares, property, etc. And we see also often as the business progresses that we then include corporate structures like companies, trusts, etc. So often this true wealth creation is a whole process that comes over many years from a small idea to where you have generational wealth. So generational wealth is not only thinking about the creation of the wealth, to get it all together and build it up. It is much more than that. And we must think about what it matters for the future generations. And because of that, I want us to have a look at the 5 types of capital. The 5 types of capital that you can basically pass on to the future generations. Human capital, intellectual capital, social capital, spiritual capital, and of course financial capital. So finances is only one of many aspects that has to do with generational wealth. So first, if we look at human capital, that is the character and the values and the abilities that we pass on to new generations. And it often goes along with having purpose for the new generations, for them each to have their own field of expertise, their own place where they can belong, where they can take responsibility, and also developing resilience for them, because we know that the markets, the business world are sometimes very turmoil. And how do we grow this human capital? That's often where education, mentorship, and family identity come in. So it's important. I remember somebody once telling me that he told his kids to go to university. He doesn't care what they study, but it's part of their forming process. So education, mentorship, talking with the children, bringing them into the business, helping them to see how and why certain management decisions are being taken. And that links with the next one, intellectual capital. That's the knowledge and experience and decision making that have been built up in this generation, or in the people that created maybe the initial business. There was maybe a lot of errors made, and over time you realized but what would result in better decisions. And this knowledge needs to be transferred to the next generation as well. And that's why it's so good to get the next generation early involved in serving on boards, even if they don't have voting rights, but just observing to see how the business is run, to see the wisdom that's being shared around the tables. So we can grow this capital by getting the next generation involved in how the business and the capital is managed. Then we have social capital. We have seen in the previous session that many businesses, many generational wealth fails because of relationships. Relationships with the family, with community, even with institutions within that community. So it is so important that we build social capital. And a few things there that we can consider is just trust. Trust within the family context, that we will stand up for each other, that we will support each other. Unity, that we as a family walk together, we take decisions together. Good communication about what's happening in the family, why are we doing what we are doing, and building family traditions. In our family, we have a few traditions, like we like to go on one family holiday once a year. We have food that we call family food, that everybody gets together and everybody prepares a dish and we share and eat that together. Simple family traditions, like when somebody gets a degree, we all go out to dinner, and that all can build social capital. And then, of course, spiritual capital, that will give you a purpose in life that is strongly linked with faith, and we can see that this shapes long-term vision, and often also reasons for giving back to not only the broader family but also the broader society. And then we get financial capital. That's where we have growth in the wealth of the family, in the investments. This can be built by saving, investing wisely, teaching financial principles, and most importantly, by being managed. If we don't have a plan to manage the financial capital, if we don't have a plan to grow it, it's not just going to happen haphazardly. So strong families try to balance all of these. Lasting wealth, balancing all 5 capitals, making sure that we address all 5 of these capitals, and not only focusing on the money. What is the risk if we only focus on the money? There's a few. Number 1, entitlement trap. The kids think that they are entitled to the money, and then they will just want to have it, spend it, enjoy it, and before we know it, it's all gone. We can also see family disintegration once they start to fight about the money, because that was all it was all about. And then also, if you look at the media, there's always big headlines if it's this wealthy families that fall out of favor or that make a misstep. So we can even get social backlash. And then I referred to it the previous time that 70% of wealth is lost by the second generation, 90% by the third generation, due to family breakdown and poor planning. So much of this could have been resolved. There's a big risk if we don't look at all these aspects. I want to invite you to maybe read a bit more on just 2 case studies where things went bad. The Pritzker family, they had a 50 billion empire that included the Hyatt hotels. And after the death of the founder, there was legal disputes, family division. I'm giving you the link where you can read more on it. So in South Africa, the Kroc family, they were into beauty care, but they were also involved in building Gold Reef City, the Apartheid Museum, and then legal battles over trusts, family division. A lot of wealth, but these other matters were not addressed. So that's again why in this series we are going to look at quite a few things. Today we're talking about the concept of wealth, but we are still going to talk about family dynamics, because that is one of the most important things where generational wealth happens or it fails. We're going to look at estate planning and wealth transfer. Then very important, family governance. How do we get a family constitution? How do we get a family board? And we're going to end off this series by just looking at why is it also important for our family to give also to the broader community. So I want to leave you with this thought. What kind of wealth are your family currently building, and why? Why is that specifically important for you? And at the end, I want to motivate you to build a wise and healthy family, not only a wealthy family. Because that will be your true legacy. If your family have character, purpose, and influence alongside the wealth. So, this week's challenge, call to action, is to complete the wheel of life for your family. Choose the 8 most important areas in your family's life. This can be a family exercise. Then you score them each on this scale of 1 to 10. So I've just, for an example, said money, health, personal growth. So maybe we are well away on our money side. I can give it an 8 out of 10 there. But health, maybe our family don't exercise, we maybe don't eat so healthy. So health is only about a 6. But personal growth, it's important for us to send our kids to school. Maybe that's a 9. And so you rate the 8 most important areas in your life. And then discuss this as a family. Reflect on these and see, but do we touch on each of the 5 capitals? Are we addressing each of the 5 capitals in this areas that's most important to us? And where are there perhaps areas that we as a family need to work on? And to make it easier, I've given you the 5 capitals and then some areas that may be of importance that you can select under those. So in the financial capital, money, careers, human capital, health, emotional well-being, maybe time management, maybe fun, maybe leadership, social capital, family and friends, romantic relationships, community, service. Under intellectual capital, personal growth, education, creativity, use of technology. Spiritual capital, faith, legacy, nature, environment, and that's your work environment and home included as well. So yes, nice challenge for this week. Look a bit at this and see if you are balancing the 5 capitals in what's important for your family.